Hey, I'm back, and thank you for bearing with me. And I'd just like to say a big thank you to my subscribers, anybody that's commented, and anybody who's watching. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you're one of my subscribers, lovely to see you back. Right, we're carrying on with this doll. I've been thinking about this. I don't think that's going to work. Right, I've been umming and ahhing, and unfortunately it means losing this old fabric, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, right, I've made a different body. It's actually a third attempt. I don't understand why. It's such a simple shape, I just couldn't seem to get it. I did it on my sewing machine. It's still slightly off on the corner here, but I decided for a third attempt, do you know what, it'll do. I'm not a perfectionist. Right, I'm just going to cut this. Whoop. That was exactly what I was trying to avoid. Okay. I'm such a klutz. Oh dear. Sometimes I do absolutely astound myself. Right, okay. As you can see. Let's get this in there. I honestly don't know how hard this is going to be to get out. Ooh. Oh, good grief. It's coming out in every orifice now. Oh, what are you? Bit of fabric, I think. I forgot to mention that everybody that commented was in favour of Miss Havisham. So that's what she'll be. That's all that was on the cushion, so yeah, I think I more or less got it all back in. So she must be roughly about the same size. Okay, so now I'm going to do her arms. There's no fabric there really worth saving, to be honest. Right. Okay. My feeling is you probably, yeah, it's got a bind. Where's my camera? Hang on, it's there. Right, can you see it's got like a bind of cotton around there? They've wound it round. So that's what I've got to try and do. Cut that off. There. So I think that one's, yeah, not far off. So about there. I only just gave that the tiniest of little tugs and it's apart. And it has got a tiny bit of sawdust in too. I'm going to trim that down a little bit. Because I don't know how you do this. I've never done it before. If nothing else, you know what I mean? I'll give it a go. Right, so I'm going to do that. So it's super tight. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit without going too. Right, so that's keeping it in that groove. And then I think I'm just going to pull as tight as I can. There wasn't a lot around it, so I'm just doing this how I think. Can I tie it to that? I might be able to. Right. Alright, so I've tied that on there. Oh, we're learning this together. My logic, if you want to call it that, is telling me it should be done. So first of all, let's get some thread in. Right, I'm just trying to, if you can see in there, I'm just trying to make sure the hands are in a similar position. I think that probably just needs turning that way a tiny bit. Let me check. Yeah. Going through. Right. So then we have one arm like that and one arm like that. So I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit of sawdust in the end of there and there, trim that down a tiny bit, and then we'll see where we go from there. And then we're going to sew that up, because we don't want any in the middle, because it doesn't matter. Right, I'm just turning that edge in. As much as I can. And then I need to turn that edge in. Oh gosh. Like I say, times like this you think, wow, I wish I had tiny hands. But I don't. Oh, I'm certainly not happy with the way that looks. Right, I'll get back to you when I've done a bit more. Right, and as you can see, it's not particularly pretty at the ends there. I'll probably put a tiny bit of glue on that to make sure it doesn't fray any further. I maybe shouldn't have trimmed that other bit off. Pull and a stretch over there when I put it on, with a couple of stitches on, and then hopefully her neck should do the rest. Once that's on, and that'll glue like that. So not too bad. Arms are sticking out a little bit. It could be down to me sawdust moving along a bit, which I didn't want it to do. It could be down to the wide seam inside, of course. I honestly don't know if these legs are going to be able to sustain these stitches, but we'll give it a go. I really would like to try and save this fabric for the legs. Right, this one we have an issue with, obviously. I could just band-aid it. Right, I've decided I'm going to try and sew this back on as carefully as I can, and then I'm going to band-aid it. with the sticky plaster stuff. Right, so I've just secured that in place. I've trimmed a little bit off the top because I know I don't need it that long. Right, a whole new rethink. I've done the same that I did on the arm. Right, I think you've seen enough stitching to, yeah, to be totally bored now. So I will try and make that smaller for one thing. That's better. I will get back to you when I've done this. I think is the best solution. Well, it's looking like a whole new body. I tried to save it. Sorry, I've got a needle in my mouth. I tried to save it, but it's not going to happen. That is now coming up. I can see that is literally coming apart, and within a couple of goes, that's going to be literally falling sawdust everywhere. So I'm going to have to take this leg back off. Right, it's another day. I've done a few different things to her since you saw her last. Just very quickly, I've just glued this on, so it's still quite delicate at the moment, so I need to be careful. I shortened her body a little bit because I decided it was a bit too long, even though I think that previously was the case. And I cut, remember I made one long piece of fabric. I decided to cut it in half and sew them on either side so they weren't sticking out quite so much. They're still sticking out a bit, but not as much as they were. Right, here she is. I think if I was to do it again, I'd do a few things slightly differently, including not using a white cotton. And also, obviously I've got a bit of excess glue here, but I think that's, to be honest, you've got to make sure you put enough on. That's a bit unavoidable. I've still got a bit of glue to put on there because those are a bit fragile. I made a slightly better job of the legs. I think by then I'd got the hang of it. Right, just to remind you, there's Miss Havisham. This was the skirt of the dress. Completely in tatters in places. But that's exactly what she's like because she stayed in that wedding dress since she was jilted. So my feeling is I don't really want to do anything to it. I could add the tiny little bit up here and there just to secure it, but I want to take this off because this is obviously, like I said, she's been used as a Christmas fairy, so we need to take that off. And that's not helping the situation with the net, it's all sticking to it. So just to remind you anyway, that's the skirt, and remember all this was frozen. I froze it in the freezer and then I've treated it with flea treatment just to be sure. And then she's got this little bodice. Yeah, we could just have a quick look and see if that still goes on. So you have to be a little bit careful because the glue's still, yeah, it was very tight on her arms, I remember. Yeah, we might have to loosen that a little bit, but anyway, it will go back on. But she's dirty. And to be fair, if you kept your wedding dress on forever, it would be dirty, but maybe I should try giving this a little wash anyway, the bodice, I think. So she's got that to the bodice, hasn't she? She's got that, which was like her undergarment. I'm pretty sure it was. I'll have to look over the old video and see how it all was. I can't remember myself. Pretty sure that was like an undergarment sewed up and went on a body like that. And there the bodice, and it's got a little bit of a rosette going on there. And then there was this little bit Now, I don't know where that was, but it'd make a good garter, wouldn't it? Anyway, we'll find out. But yeah, so that's what we'll be doing next week. We'll be putting, I'll wash the bodice, but I'm going to leave the rest. I think it's just too delicate. I think I would lose it. But I'll wash the bodice. So we're going to be dressing Miss Havisham, and we'll be doing some more on Follybeck Farm. It still needs windows and all kinds, and if we get time, we might even make a little something else. We'll see. So anyway, ta-ta for now. Have a great week. Hey, my arm works. Hey, and my legs. Oh, this feels great. Well, I'm off before she sees me. Ta-ta for now.